welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jai.
Hey, we're talking The Warriors today. From 1979, we're going back in time a little. We are usually 90s, but every now and again we'll go off the 90s track. So this isn't too far in the future. This is behind, so it's almost 80s. This feels very like late 70s, but also very 80s.
It does. Some elements feel 80s, but then especially fashion, like it's late 70s really.
Yeah. Then like the music is totally 70s, like the total 70s vibe. Directed by Walter Hill. And yeah, this was Jai's pick, which I think you may have heard on the end of one of the last episodes that you wanted to do this. So I was like, cool, I've never seen it. You've seen it a bunch. Yeah. So yeah, do you want me to go first? What my first thoughts are?
Yes, because you're the one that's watched it for the first time. So yeah, you should go first.
Yeah, I'm the newbie. Okay, so this film made me miss New York a lot. I was like, oh, the subways. I mean, I don't miss like a lot of things, but this is, I was like, oh, super nostalgic. This is like the subways of New York and Coney Island. And that was kind of cool to see old New York, because New York is definitely not like this anymore. At least not like as a whole. I mean, definitely areas, but as a whole, it's just not this like grungy anymore, like the trains at least. I mean, they are, but not to like the same extent, I guess you could say. It's so funny that I found this out when I was doing more of the research, where I was like, did they film this whole thing at 3 a.m.? There is no one out. Like, this has to be in like the dead of night. And they actually did. They actually shot it. Yeah, between like midnight and 8 or something. So I was like, there's nobody on the street at all. Like, how did they... This must be crazy. So I don't think I love it.
No.
I have to say, I don't love it. I don't hate it by any means. I think it's an okay movie. I definitely am not like obsessed with it. And my I don't want to say it's a gripe.
I know what you're going to say.
What? Ooh, what do you think I'm going to say?
I totally know what you're going to say.
Ooh, tell me.
You feel like maybe a little bothered or like put off by the fact that women are totally objectified in the movie.
That's actually not at all.
It's not.
That's not even a note, actually. I mean, I've kind of come to the realization that when films were made in like the late 70s and not now, they're going to be misogynistic. And not that to say I don't care, but thankfully with that scene when that girl was sitting on the bench, and he like went up to her, I was like, if this turns into like a violent rape scene, like I'm fast forwarding, like I like cannot handle this, but thankfully it didn't.
Okay,
but that's not my gripe.
Okay,
I
think I know.
Okay, what's my what do you think my other gripe is?
It's the fact that the leading guy or gang is not is white. It's a white guy.
No, has nothing to do with it.
Oh my god. Because like you think that like gangs back then were made like, I mean, I don't know whether this is a fact, but I'm pretty sure I've read about this before, and it was like mostly like Hispanic and like blacks, who were members of gangs.
But also in New York, it was more separated by like nationality or ethnicity. So there were Italian gangs, Polish gangs, Irish gangs.
Yes.
Yeah, they were not like multicultural at all, which I thought was very unrealistic. That's actually not the problem that I have with it. The only problem that I had, like major problem, was that there wasn't enough character development. Like you did no idea why anyone was doing anything. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you were just supposed to like blindly accept it. Which is fine. Like I guess it'd be weird if they had like a backstory on one character and you kind of like realize like, okay, well, what about the other guys? But I feel like there just was no... now I want to read the book, because I wonder if the book was like more descriptive and they just had to change things for script wise, because in the behind the scenes, I only had a few notes, but there are a ton of notes that it was a very complex project to do because of all the gang activity around them. So maybe they didn't have enough time to do like actual monologues on the street where you're like finding out about people, because it's basically like they're moving, like the whole film they're moving, which I find really cool. But I feel like when they kind of inject some of the human area, like the girl, I don't think was needed. I did not care about her. I had no idea why he even had her around. He treated her like shit, and it just didn't even make sense for her to be there because she wasn't that hard. Like, I feel like she said she was really hard, but she wasn't. Kind of like I didn't believe it from her. Also, I read that they wanted a Puerto Rican girl to play her, which I probably think would have been better. I said she looked like Rosario Dawson, but
Well,
Rosario
she
Dawson
did
was
look
better.
Puerto Rican though.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they wanted that energy, it obviously wouldn't have been that gang. And they probably didn't cast her. It's the 70s. Like, I don't think they would have had like a leading.
Well, they did say they
girl.
wanted a Puerto Rican girl, but I think when the director saw her, he was like really impressed by her, and she did look Puerto Rican. So like, but it's funny that you mentioned that because it was actually what they had in mind for the girl.
Yeah, which I wonder why they just didn't.
Well, I know what you're saying. I definitely read that that was the issue that a lot of critics had, but lack of depth, lack of characters and stuff, but development. But as you said, that it was definitely like a rushed project because it was basically super hard to start, and once they had the go ahead, like they had such a short time,
like a window, like a time
to do it, and so I think that probably was part of it. Don't think they could have really developed like even
that's the thing. Where would they be speaking? You know what I mean? Like, where would they be out like talking about it? Was cool. That was just my like one gripe about it. But then I had like, I can definitely see how this film obviously inspires so many others though. Like, and I can see like I can see the kind of formula that it took with like how every other film, like for example, like, I mean, not to like get back to the same fucking thing, but like if you're talking about Fight Club, right, which I thought was very similar because you've got like a gang of people. It's obviously not the same as if like there are a lot of gangs and they're all like doing things together, but like you kind of know the reasoning behind obviously why Tyler Durden, but it's a very like cerebral film too. Like it's not a general action film. This film's also really short. It's only like an hour and a half.
It is.
So if they had 30 extra minutes, like maybe there would have been some kind of other thing. But I do like it, but that was just my one gripe about it. Cause I want to care about the characters. I don't think I cared about any. Like even one of them. So that was my only like kind of like, oh, I wish I like grasped onto the main guy, but I didn't really like.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, it's a valid point. I just think they knew it was going to be a tough project. Just like the reason, just basically like shooting in New York at that time, at night, they knew that would be very difficult, which it was,
So risky.
And so exactly, and actually security and all the things that happened that they had in into consideration when they knew they were going to start the film. Basically, they spent a lot of money on that, so a big chunk of the budget went in that, like just like little incidents that happen, a lot of security during the filming, and like I just think, I know what you're saying. I think I just love the film anyway.
See, I'm a first time viewer, and now that when we're doing these episodes, like I'm looking deeper. Like if I was just watching it and I wasn't taking notes, I mean, it's an entertaining film. Like I was never bored or anything like that. There are a lot of really funny questions I have pertaining to outfit choices, which are really funny. But I also wrote, this is super late 70s, and it reminds me of the Michael Jackson Bad music video.
Yes.
Where they're all in the subway, which is like one of my favorites, directed by Scorsese, weirdly enough.
Gosh.
And West Side Story. That like totally reminds me of West Side Story. And apparently I read that the author wrote the book like as a like revolt against West Side Story because he thought that they kind of romanticized it.
And 69. It's crazy.
61.
I thought it was 69. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, well, no, 61's when the movie came out. He probably wrote it in 69. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that West Side Story was romanticized. Like it's Romeo and Juliet. Like people die. I don't think there was any romanticize of street gangs from that film. But I definitely see how they like wanted to go the other way. How it's like super fucked, and it's It's like
Yeah,
hard, and tough, and they exist and all that kind of stuff. But what are your thoughts? Because you've seen this a bunch of times.
I have. Yeah, I mean, I actually feel quite ignorant for discovering this film quite late in life because I only watched it for the first time in like 2015 or 2013. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. It's never
Um,
anywhere though. I mean, I never see it anywhere.
well, it was on Netflix in the UK, and that's how
Oh, okay.
we sort of came across it. It must have been one night when we were looking at, like, googling like best films on Netflix or something ridiculous like that, like
Mhm.
at the time. And Matthew and I were like, "Oh, have you ever heard of this film?" I was like, "No, I've never heard of it." And we're like, "Oh, we should watch it. It sounds really cool." So I feel really silly for like not knowing about this film.
Oh, don't. I mean, I didn't see it till now.
I know, but it seems crazy that it's such a like cult classic, and like it's really gone to influence like so many artists and films and music videos and everything. And I had no idea about it. But maybe it was because it was 79. I don't know, because who knows actually. And
It is
also,
older. Walter Hill is not an insanely popular
he's
director.
no, I
Yeah, so I
know.
don't think we would know, and no famous people in it.
I
Like,
suppose, yeah, none of them, which is really sad because like
except for T-Bird and The Crow,
exactly.
who I wanted to
Well,
have a bigger role. I was actually kind of bummed that he was my favorite character, and I hardly ever saw him.
hmm,
Like, I saw him in the beginning when he shot the guy, and then in the middle when he was at the candy
yeah.
place, and then at the end, and I was like, "That's all we get from
I
him?"
wanted to see. I mean, yeah, I love Michael Beck. I just think he's like really hot in this movie, obviously. But
He's,
he's fun,
Swan, okay, yeah.
yeah. And obviously James Remar, like he's super hot. I mean,
Dexter's dad.
who knew that he was so hot when he was younger? Like
He looks like William Dafoe, or
he does.
Willem Dafoe,
He
yeah.
totally does, but
Yeah, he
like
has
a
that
prettier
vibe.
version.
Yeah, yeah, with less weird teeth. 'Cause Willem Dafoe has, like, that creepy smile, because all of his teeth are like space. Like,
It's like
if he got them fixed, it would be crazy.
they
He would look
actually
totally
could
different.
be siblings.
Yeah,
Totally, yeah.
they totally
Um,
could be.
yeah. Anyway, so I definitely love every aspect of this film. Like there is so much action, which I like,
Yeah,
and
it's cool.
it's all set in one night on the streets of New York, which is obviously freaking amazing. And I really like what they did with the cinematography. Like it wasn't like
It is cool.
mind blowing, but it was so cool. Like the fact that you could do that, like there's so many cool shots, like the city and it's after rain and it's kind of like wet, and the subway and everything. I don't know. I think I cannot, honestly, I cannot imagine filming like in films. This is like pre-digital. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
do that and you're not really sure about what you're getting until later when you see it, like when you see the dailies and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I know, it's so cool.
It's just so hard. But and the music, I mean,
It was
synth
pretty cool.
synth rock. I mean, that's like so cool. I can't even think of any other movie, like actual movie in of that time that had like such good music.
I know, I'm trying to think of anything from, like, the late '70s. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of '70s films. That's
Really,
the one decade that I've seen a fair amount of films in the '60s. I like a lot of '60s and, like, '40s and '30s and '50s, but the '70s, I haven't seen that many. Like, I think it's a weird genre. Like, the '70s, it's like
it's
a
definitely a weird one, yeah.
yeah, it's a
But
weird genre, like the films that came out during that time. The only ones I've seen are like The Godfather and like, some of those, but I
well,
haven't seen Jaws.
I've seen all of those, and then obviously Taxi Driver,
Oh, I've seen that,
Rocky,
yeah. Haven't seen
Saturday. What
Rocky.
is it called? Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
All of those.
Grease I've
I've
seen.
definitely watched a lot of movies from the 70s, like yeah, classics as well. But this one by far has got the best music in my opinion. And yeah, I love it too because I feel that even though it's based on a novel, like from 69, I think the portrayal of gang culture of New York in the early 70s is so spot on. And
Yeah, it
I'm like
looks
so
like it.
fascinated by stories about that and like just like subculture, even though this is more like a counterculture,
Yeah,
with the
totally.
gangs. And it's about survival. I mean, at the end of the day, that's like the bigger picture here, you know, like, and that's not even like fiction. That was actually true at the time. There was like
Yeah.
gangs and they were all killing each other. And it was about like, you know, defending your territory. And yeah, it's, you know what's really crazy? Like, I almost feel like, or it seems like my favorite films like have a lot of violence. And I'm not
Really?
really sure what that says about me, but
What other films do you that
well,
you like violent?
this is in my top 10, and so there's also like A
Is it
Clockwork
really?
Orange. Yeah, I love it.
We
Like,
should do a
love
special
it.
episode of, like, our top 10s, like,
Okay, yeah.
of our top ten films that we have, 'cause, I guess we can do it, like, from that time, 'cause who knows if something will come out in the future that will end up being on the top 10, but, yeah, we should, 'cause I'm curious, this isn't your top 10, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
else
it's,
do you know offhand that you
well,
really like that's violent?
yeah, A Clockwork Orange is my top, you
Oh,
know.
that's right, that's up there, yeah.
And that's kind of similar stories about like youth, you know, culture in England in like late 60s, and like it's like ultra violent, you know.
This is
And
true.
yeah, I wonder what that says about me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we've really been desensitized by violence. Like our generation of movie going, like in the 90s is when violence got like ratcheted up. Like the
Mm-hmm.
80s was like somewhat violent in films, but the 90s is where like I mean Tarantino kind of like fucking blew that gate open. Like
Yeah.
I mean all of his stuff is super violent but still commercial. Like people still like to watch it. They like the violence, the stylized violence. Like that became more of a thing, it seems, in America. I don't know about other countries, but it became more like acceptable because now it's on TV. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
see what's
is.
on TV, even regular TV, like not cable, you just see that there's just more general like guns and there are lots of cop shows and people are being shot and killed and just on regular TV, I mean, and the news. So it's just like clueless. We're just like, if we could stop all the violence in the news, there's no more to get us shows that need it for entertainment value. I was like, that's true. That was like her big speech. I was like, that's totally true because we have violence everywhere. So yeah, that's really funny that well not funny, but that's interesting that I think American Psycho is one of my favorite films and that's like crazy violent,
Exactly. Yeah.
but they make you swallow they give it to you so you can swallow it like really well. Like they don't make it so like if they made American Psycho the way the book is, like I mean, they just couldn't make it. Like it's not pretty. But then they have like the horror gore shit that's like gross, like if you
I
want to
like that.
see
I like
gross
that film
shit.
too, but it's not like my I like it, but it's not obviously one of
American
my
Psycho?
favorites. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it's in top 10, but it's up there. It's like pretty far up there. Oh, so question that I asked you off air so that you could prepare an answer and I wouldn't put you on the spot
Thank
was
you.
if you had a gang, since in the beginning, one of my favorite scenes is when all the gangs are getting together for that
I
meeting
know.
and you see
Totally
all
one
the
of my
different
favorite
outfits and you see
scenes.
all the names. What would your gang name be and what clothes would you have everyone wear?
This is such a cool question, and I'm very happy to answer.
Yeah.
It's the Pink Dolls, and
Dolls. Okay.
my or like our outfits would be like white mini dresses, quite floaty but really short, with black pointy boots with studs,
Oh,
like all
cool.
over. And I'll have like headband, like we all wear. Well, maybe not all of us, but definitely we'll have like a headband, like a leather one, like the Prada from like 2 years
Oh,
ago, like,
yeah. Yeah.
with like studs as well. You know.
Cool. But so they're pink dolls, but you're not wearing pink.
Well, we'll have like pink accessories and
Oh,
maybe
okay, okay. So you
like
have some pink on.
definitely white. I mean, no, yeah, definitely be like some pink accessories there, or like, but we wouldn't be wearing all pink dresses. It would be like white with like
Cool.
black leather and like pink accessories. Yeah. What about you?
Nice. Okay, my gang name would be the Kicks. Kix, like the cereal. So I'd have to fight some kind of trademark on that. But I want Alexander Wang to design our outfits. I would like black and white, but like I like blue somewhere in there too, because blue is my favorite color. I was thinking of I think I want to have a co-ed gang. I think that might help a little bit to have a co-ed gang, but I did think the Lizzies were pretty fucking badass though. I have
They
to say.
are.
And I like
They
how they didn't have an
are.
outfit. Like you didn't really
No.
know they were all together. They were all wearing like very like 70s, 80s type clothes. But
So
they weren't
cool.
all like coordinated like all the like douchey guys were.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
especially the fucking baseball guys. What the
Oh
fuck? Why
my.
do you have striped rugby shirts with overalls? And why is one of them wearing skates? Like why do you just have one wearing skates? I thought they were all gonna be on skates. So, for behind the scenes and production, we'll get into more of the fashion later because we were talking about their outfits. But for the behind the scenes and production, my first note is the budget was $4 million, which we were talking about. That a lot of it went to like paying for essentially protection from some of the gangs that were out and around, and some stuff was actually like I think a camera equipment was messed up in one scene. I think I read.
Yeah, a lot of apparently it was like thousands of dollars worth of equipment were damaged.
Yeah, so it was like pretty crazy. So that makes me like that. My first thought is obviously about like the issues I have with character development, but you know, in the general scheme of things, I understand that it's a really entirely hard film to pull off. So it is really cool. And oh yeah, so it made 22.5 million. It was like a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
But a kind of like tumultuous one because there were lots of violence at screenings, at just show times. A lot of theater owners like didn't want to have the film because they were afraid of the violence. So yeah, Paramount, the company that made it, the studio suspended ads after negative receptions, and like the theater people were absolved of like having to show the film just in case they didn't want to like start any trouble, which is really crazy.
It is. Think about like how much more it would have made if it hadn't been pulled out so many like theaters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand,
Crazy.
obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of young men went to go see it, and it was and I think a lot of people who were actually in gangs, you know, so they were like very like, you know, energized by it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool. What do you have?
Yeah, like in one of the scenes, I think it was in Van Cortlandt Park.
Mm-hmm.
They use actual New York City gang members as a
Yeah,
gesture
that big one.
of goodwill from the producers, just to to allow them to be part of this movie. But they had to like have the like New York PD
Well, like undercover.
the undercover police cops and everything, and but it's crazy. Like actually, the scenes use real gang members as well,
Yeah.
like unknown cops, well, like real and unknown cops. It's pretty cool. They
Yeah.
used 1,000 extras for the film at the park where all the gangs gather.
There are a lot.
That's like, I mean, I have to say, how did they film that scene? Because think of all the work when they were all running.
Yeah. And surprised no one got stampeded or like trampled.
Yeah, I know.
They were all running different directions. Some of them were like, go against the crowd. I was like, but they're gonna like get body slammed.
Yeah,
They go against the crowd. It's crazy. And even the guy who Cyrus like has that speech, you know, like how can they get everyone to be quiet? You know, to be like, okay, we're doing the speech part, you know, like he's gotta be able to scream and
must have like require a lot of like planning and like
yeah, totally.
It would have been so cool to be on set, actually. Just, as
It would
an
have been
extra.
scary. It would have been scary in like 80s or late 70s New York.
And also, let's not forget, it was 1,000 men. There was no women.
Yeah, no women. How crazy. I feel like if you want to see a cleaned up version of what they probably tried to do later, it's definitely The Outsiders.
Yeah.
And they got like all recognizable like young actors and got Coppola to do it and made it like clean, you know, like it wasn't as crazy, but that was like what, 4 years later?
Basically, yeah.
Which is crazy. Let's see. I have that the movie was so popular with real street gangs that there were 3 killings reported, 2 in Southern California and 1 in Boston. So that's pretty nuts. This is all from IMDb, so who the fuck knows if this is actually
It is, but I wonder how they linked that to like gangs in New York, because it was Boston and California. I mean,
yeah, I know. Was it just gang thing that they just thought rose because this movie was out?
I know. I'm curious to see what the relation, like the link is there. You know,
yeah, totally.
If it had been in New York, I sort of will understand, but not really there. But I mean, who knows? Yeah, it's so crazy. So the scene where Mercy is running with in the subway.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she fell and broke her wrist because the actor didn't let go of her hand.
Oh.
And so then after that, she comes back and is wearing a jacket, and it's because she had to cover up the cast that she was wearing.
Yeah, that was weird that all of a sudden she was like, I stole this jacket.
Yeah, that's why she kind of disappeared. And she wasn't, you kind of think, well, it looks like she's behind and she's probably coming, but then she doesn't really show up for a while. And also the scene where Swan swings the bat into, I think to the cop,
Mm-hmm.
when they're like running in the subway again.
Subway, yeah.
She swings the bat into the actress's face by accident. And she had to be rushed to hospital at 3 a.m. for stitches. And apparently she still has a scar.
Oh my gosh.
Also, the same actor, Michael Beck, broke 3 actors' ribs. In
Three
like
different people's ribs.
3 different people's ribs. And I think it's the scene at the park when they with the bat.
Guys.
With the bats, with the baseball Furies, I think.
Yeah.
They were extras or whatever, but apparently he didn't find that until like 37 years later at a reunion, like a film reunion. And these guys told the actor that you actually broke my ribs. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So a lot of accidents.
Yeah, I was gonna say this movie has like a lot of like near misses kind of thing. Like
Well,
it
I think
sounds like
it's such a huge production, and also you're working with it's like a lot of fights involved and everything. It's
it's crazy. It is really cool that it's kind of like this unhinged like kind of half production, half real life. Like it's kind of cool. They kind of wove a story within this real like landscape of gangs in New York City and neighborhoods, and the names are all really cool.
So cool.
Names. Yeah, they're all super cool. Yeah, that's super neat. I don't have any more behind the scenes. I mean, there are a lot. If you are interested, then definitely go look it up. There's a whole page. But do you have any more interesting behind the scenes stuff?
I have a couple. Well, so Robert De Niro was asked to be Cowboy, to play Cowboy.
Who is Cowboy?
Cowboy is...
I don't know.
Okay, so Cowboy is what he's a white guy, like one of the white characters. He's like
look it up.
He's not really in much actually. Like, I think he's one of the first. He gets, when they split up, he's in he's not one of the main ones, but he's part of the Warriors. He's in the Warriors.
That's so weird that they would want him to do that when he had. Oh, I see. Oh, Cowboy's the one with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
So he's with them. But that's weird that this is 79. He'd already been in Taxi Driver. They want him to be
That's what I mean. I know.
B-roll? Like,
well, I think they would. Yeah, who knows? I mean,
or maybe Taxi Driver wasn't as big like when it came out. Like, I think it was though. Wasn't it pretty well received?
I thought it was, but then who knows? A lot of these movies just become, we know them because they become cult classics. But who knows at the time?
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I didn't really find anything else on like actors, like casting and stuff like that. Trying to think, I think
my mom and dad went on a date to see Taxi Driver, and like because they dated throughout the 70s, and I was like, that's so weird to think that. And she's like, she'll sometimes tell me like it's so weird when I see De Niro because like I remember being on that date and being like, we'd never seen a film like that before because it's like 76. Like they just didn't like the end when everything like we were just like, what? When we came out, she's like, the whole theater was like kind of silent. People were like, what the hell did I just watch? Like that has never been on screen, like nothing like that. And no one knew Robert De Niro either. So it was like, who is that guy? Like he's crazy. Like he's so good. Like what is this? So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it for behind the scenes, I think.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I don't really have a lot more. I mean, there's so much that there's so many things that happen on that set. At the end when Luther says like, come out to play, and he like does the bottles when he's at
Coney. Was improvised. Like,
yeah, that was cool. That there are a lot of like little small things I think that are like pretty interesting to find out. But
yeah, there is so much.
Cool.
You know, when you mention about like equipment being damaged and you know because of money and stuff, they after that incident they actually pay real gangs like
Yeah,
to
for
protect their equipment, and they were at the time. This is quite a lot, $500 a day.
yeah, that is a lot.
I mean, at the time, right?
Yeah.
So cool. Anyway, yes, I'm sure you can just Google lots of more interesting stuff about this. So,
And you mentioned there's a film, a documentary that's more about like the real life of like gangs in New York in the 70s. Is it 70s?
it is, yeah. It's more like early 70s, I think. It's called Rubble Kings, and it used to be a long time ago on Netflix.
Okay. I was gonna say
I
I looked
don't
it up.
know
Yeah, it's not
if
up there
it's it,
now.
but if you like this movie, you got to watch that documentary. It's incredible.
Cool. Yeah, I want to. It's on the list. I do love films about gang culture. I do happen to like films about like West Coast gang culture.
Mhm.
But I also love stuff about like the mob. Like really into like I want to know like what the mob was like around this time, because the mob is like you see and don't see. You know, they're not like a street gang, but they're like very organized and have a thing. And I'm like, damn, in New York at this time, they probably had to pay some mob people too. I would think, because like they're
Oh
everywhere,
yeah,
you
for
know, like
sure.
they're everywhere. So I'm like, God, that'd be really crazy. I mean, I think they even had people in some gangs like look at the script of The Godfather. Like I've seen some documentaries where
Oh wow.
they're like they actually said, and the thing is one of the things in The Godfather which was really interesting is they could never say mob, like they had to say family, like because the mafia would not allow them to like say mafia. Like you can't explicitly say that because we don't technically exist, like quote unquote. Like this is back then. This is like back in the early 70s. So they're like you have to be careful with your words and like that kind of thing. But yeah, I love things about the mob too, like documentaries about the mob. I'm like all
Yeah, it's really interesting. I
yeah,
mean, I
it's
also
crazy.
think, I no wonder why like New Yorkers are so proud to be New Yorkers. You know, I feel like they've gone through so much, like the city itself. You know, and
Oh, totally.
there's so much history. It's so cool. Like,
There's a lot of cities too have a really interesting history that you don't hear about a lot. Like Chicago has another. They have a pretty insane history too. Um,
yeah, and Philly, right? Philly as well.
Philly, yeah, as far as like mob stuff goes, I mean, and like Vegas, and I mean, and you can find like interesting things about almost every city, like every like major American city. St. Louis, Kansas City, another like kind of hub, but Boston got tons
Really,
of things about. Yeah, did you see Black Mass about Whitey Bulger? Johnny
I
Depp,
didn't.
Johnny Depp
I
played him.
didn't. I don't think.
It was good. It's I think it's on one of those like free websites like Tubi or like Crackle, like where you just watch it with ads, but it's really good. But that's like he's like the most vicious gangster in Boston, like Irish mob, and he was just like killed in jail recently. And
Oh,
like really fucking like the description of how they killed him was nuts, like nuts, like it was crazy. But he was a rat like for the FBI, so that's why
mm.
he had like a horrible end. But yeah, that's another like that's another episode for a different show to talk about like mob stuff. I could talk about that shit all day. Let's get into the fashion. Costume designer Bobby Mannix, you did your fucking job.
So, how do you do a job like this? I mean,
How?
have fun. Like,
How did she get all? I think it's a woman, right? I think it's a woman. How did she get all of? Even okay, the beginning when they're all coming together. How do you even get these extras to be wearing like all the same shit?
well, that's
You
what I
know?
mean when I say, like, think of how much money it cost. Even if
Yeah.
it's like cheap stuff that you could buy at shops, so you still had to dress 1,000 people.
Did they keep the clothes or are they just walking off with them? Like, what are we doing? Like, especially my favorite outfit in the beginning. They were called the Electric something, and they had yellow satin jackets.
Oh yeah, like bomber
Oh, they were
jackets. Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. I was like, so how did they have 5 of those? Or like they had a bunch because they all were walking together and you saw the backs of them. I was like,
Well, I also
keep
think back
those?
then they were more about like making things for movies rather than
I guess so.
buying them. I mean, now we have like fast fashion, so like it's easy to do that sort of thing for films. But when I worked briefly on like TV and stuff, like that's what we did. We bought stuff, and what we couldn't find, we'll make or like
So
customize.
cool.
So it's a lot cheaper than actually making it yourself from scratch. And
They had
yeah,
to have made those jackets, right?
they must have done. They
Yeah,
must
you
have
can't
done
get
it.
5 of those. They're like old school, like vintage style. Well, not
Yeah.
vintage to us, not then.
I mean, I actually really love the Warriors like outfits.
Oh yeah, the vest. It's very
I do.
Plies.
It's it's well, apparently, they were inspired by Hell Angel's leather jacket by one of the
Yeah, that is true. I was gonna say it's very like, well, the Rogues who are like Luther's gang, the one that shoots Cyrus, they remind me very much of Sons of Anarchy. Like they call them cuts, like their
Mhm.
jackets, and they remind me of like a biker gang with like the black leather vest and like the gray shirt
Yeah.
and like the thing he had on it. He had amazing hair, by the way, Luther.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that like wispy
Amazing.
70s mullet hair. It's really
I know, so cool.
super
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I think it's really cool that they didn't make the vest like black or anything. I think this is cooler, because it's kind of like it could almost be like Native American
Yeah, it
kind of.
did. Yeah, it did look Native American. And the guys, I love how all the black guys look like Jimi Hendrix.
Oh my God,
They all had like
yes.
dope jewelry and like
And they had these really cool tribal
yeah,
necklaces
they all
and
had
headbands.
super cool
Yeah,
shit on. I was like, and the one little boy looked like Michael Jackson.
I know,
Like,
like baby Michael
yeah,
Jackson.
he was like Michael Jackson's like baby face. I was like, oh. What's your favorite out of all of the gangs? I was talking about the weird overall one roller skate dude gang.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Warriors are one of my favorites, but also the Baseball Furies because
Pretty cool.
I love the drama of like the makeup, really inspired by Kiss and
It is.
baseball uniforms, like long hair, like the bats. I think they're really cool. Pretty scary. I mean, if I saw a dude like that in the park at night, I would
Oh,
be horrified.
yeah, I would be running.
It would be so scary, exactly. But I actually really like Mercy's outfit
Yeah,
as
I wrote
well.
hers down. It's cool. The pink one?
She's
Oh,
totally like 70s glam, isn't she? Like disco sort of thing.
her shoes are cool too.
And her hair looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks really
She's
cool.
I mean, she also happens to be beautiful, so that helps. But I'm not really sure how she managed to run on heels.
I know. Like
Like
the whole
how?
time.
And she didn't break an ankle or anything. It's pretty
No, but she
impressive.
got tons of other injuries, it
It's
seems.
true.
Like
Yeah,
she
she
got
did.
like a hit in the face and like a wrist. Like, damn, that's pretty intense. I can't even imagine. I'd be so
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much, isn't it? Like, I mean, I like them all. I think they did an amazing
Orphans, I
job.
like.
The Orphans.
They
Oh
looked
my
cool.
God.
They were very like 90s grunge with their like dirty jeans and like kind of army colored shirt.
They were more like post-punk sort of thing.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. I liked it.
Um,
Trying to think of who are some other gangs. Well, see, we didn't know other names, but that was one of my favorite scenes was when you just saw them all coming together
Me
for this
too. Yeah, it's
meeting and you're
obviously one
like,
of my favorites.
cool. Yeah, you're like,
You
cool.
know what I really love? What's his name? Hang on. His name is Mansai.
Okay, who is
Is
it?
it Mansai? He's the guy who sort of takes over after Cyrus's death, and
Oh,
he's
glasses.
yeah. What's his? Is it? How do you pronounce it? Mansai or Mensai?
I think
I think
it's
it's Mansai.
I think it's Mensai. Let me look up. What is it?
Yeah. He looks fucking amazing. He's wearing like black
He looks like
sunglasses,
a Black
right?
Panther.
Totally, but he has this really cool tunic that is black with like some sort of embellishment, like kind of
Oh, yeah, you're right.
remember it's kind of like they're not sequins, but it's something shiny.
Yeah, it might be like studs.
I suppose it could yeah, it looks like studs. And I love his army. He's in this like kind of tunnel, like underground or
Yeah.
something. It's so cool. It just looks amazing. That shot when he's like, who are the warriors? Because they think that the warriors killed Cyrus.
Mhm.
But yeah, and also the gang that follows them to the subway on that truck. on that bus.
Oh yeah, the turn.
The skinheads, yeah.
And I love that they're like a multicultural skinhead group too. Like
They're fucking scary.
yeah, and there's some black guys in there as well. Because at first when they were like, "Oh, those fucking skinheads," I was like, "Oh shit, here we go." But I was like, "Oh, it's like a multicultural skinhead group."
Yeah, I just love. I love all of them. I mean,
The
yeah.
mimes. They're those weird mimes that you see.
Oh
They have
yeah.
the red on, the red and like the black with the bowler hat, like and everything. Like there's so many. If you go back and just look, and I mean, I guess I should have like found it, see if there's a website or something that has them all like listed, like where I'll find some good photos.
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, because there's so many. Oh, I'm looking at one, the Boppers. They're like the guys in like those purple satin vests with the black shirts and the khakis. Yeah, I'm like looking at. There's actually a Warriors wiki like page, which I should have looked up before I actually did this, because then I could have actually like gone through, and this actually has the whole thing. This is like the Boppers, and it has all their rivals, like the Turnbull ACs. Those are the skinhead ones.
Oh wow.
The Turnbull ACs. Yeah, but they have all these lists, like allies, who their allies. Like I don't know how they know this. I mean, maybe it's from the book. And they just like, filled in. But yeah, it's cool. The Warriors has a wiki page, like a whole thing. So fandom. You can like look it up.
That's really cool. I did find names of all the gangs, but some of them didn't make it, so it's really hard to know. But it listed all the names.
It's neat. Yeah, they have the Hurricanes. Cool. Oh, the Hurricanes look like the Italian ones who had the like fedoras, like straw fedoras.
Oh yeah. I mean, how do you even? Yeah, it's
really cool. Like. Yeah, the Orphans, the Moon Runners. I don't know who they are. I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, I don't know who the Moon Runners was.
Yeah, they're a lot, but it's cool. Oh, the Electric Eliminators are the ones with those cool jackets. They had the yellow jackets. I knew it was Electric something. They're super
cool.
It's super cool. What's your music take? What are your favorites?
I mean, the fact that like. What's his name? Barry Bosman.
Mm-hmm.
He made the music, right? Like all the synth tracks. I love all the tracks that he made, basically. But I also really love that song called "Love Is a Fire."
Where is that in it?
It's. I think it's one of the Chase. Like, let me think. It's like really disco.
Oh,
I can play it. Shall I play it?
No, don't play it. We don't have the rights.
Okay.
We don't have any money for that yet. Eventually, I want to see if we can put like I'd love to do like a 10-second or 15-second intro with like a quote from each one of the movies, but I have to research my legal situation to see it.
All right, yeah.
It's 15 seconds. I think there's some kind of limit on like how much you can use. Like if it's for educational, but I love to. Yeah, this is educational. We're talking about the film. Like we're not making. Yeah, we're not like trying to sell anything.
This song is in one of the chases, and it's like this. I think it's the song when they leave the girl's apartment and they're all like running.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the song that's played. It's very disco.
I'll have to go back.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Cool.
But I mean, I just love the soundtrack. I think it's really cool. They have like some disco. They have some songs like in Spanish, actually, like kind of like Puerto Rican music almost.
Oh, cool.
Vibes. Yeah, I think it's called In Havana. And then Nowhere to Run. That I love that song too.
Is that what's the song? What's the song at the end? The credits. I like that song a lot.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I tried to look it up.
I think it's a song by Desmond Child. I think
I wrote so 70s easy listening.
It is, yeah.
I like that vibe. I also like the radio station DJ, how she's kind of like broadcasting. She's really famous in kids of the 80s. She was the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Like she was like this like kids TV show that was really cool in like the early 90s, and she was like the voice. Like she ran the show.
Oh wow.
That was really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that she was on there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the one from Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, I mean, how amazing that they have that element in the movie too. Like there is like a radio DJ who's like basically like not communicating, but sort of keeping up, like everyone up to date.
Yeah, about the gang situation.
Yeah, and also like this song, she's like, the words, like they're, this is a song for you, and it kind of says it all. It's like nowhere to run.
Yeah.
But like basically you need to, everyone is after you. And
I love
that.
end where she's like, sorry, we got the wrong ones, but like,
Oh yeah,
here's a
sorry.
song for you.
I know. I love that they just show her lips and the microphone. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
But there is so much music throughout the film, because there is like the scene at the girl's apartment when they're dancing. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then there is also like the scene where the warriors are chased to the subway by that gang on the bus, and one of them has got like a massive radio.
Oh yeah, you're right.
On his shoulders. It's very much like
the 80s.
Daft Punk, like the video for I can't remember. It was one of the early. It's in the first album, and it's the same. It's like that whole thing about like having your radio with you and like dancing on the streets. So cool.
What song is that? It's not Around the World. I know.
No, it's way before that. It's from the very first album.
I don't even know if I've heard the very first. It's one before Homework, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's super cool.
I don't think I've heard the first one.
After this podcast, I'll send it to you.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I've heard the first one. Nice. Oh, I'm excited because I really like.
What about you for music and stuff?
The music I just really love. I love the soul intro, like, and how you see the subways. Like, I love the first one. I love the New York City subway. It's just, I feel like it will never get old to film in either. It's just always so cool at night.
To film or to shoot, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so rad that no one cares. There's a really great photographer on Instagram that I follow, and his name is Justin Jameson, and he does so many photos of in the subway, like just documentary style, but he gets like the greatest photos. Like, it's insane how amazing his photos are, and I'm just like,
I know,
it's such a great place.
I don't really understand like how it can be so like such an inspiring place. Like, it's just the subway, but I think because it's so massive, like it goes all the way to like Coney Island, and like it's outside as well, which is not it doesn't happen in every country. I mean, some countries have that, some stations, but I feel like that definitely adds to it, the fact that you're underground and then you're like overground sort of thing.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's cool when you come out of I think it's like the J train, and it's one in Brooklyn, and it's like on these suspended tracks, like way up in the air. And when you come around, if you go like the direction into the city, into City Hall, and you come from Brooklyn, like you see the fucking skyline.
Yeah.
Huge. And it's like the best the best train to even just take. If you're just visiting New York, like you should go to Brooklyn and take that train in, because you're not going to see that view anywhere. I mean, you could go to like a fancy restaurant or hotel in Brooklyn and see it, but it's cool to see it on the train. Then you're like, people see this every day. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I know. It is like, whenever I'm in New York, I always end up taking pictures in the subway because I find it really inspiring and cool. Like, we went to this brewery in Queens, and that was pretty cool too. Like, you're come out and you're in this sort of bridge overground, like you're outside, and it looks super industrial, really cool, like the sunset and everything. It's just amazing.
It's really cool. Yeah, New York has so many layers. It will never be one of those places that like they won't use for movies. Like, it just has so much history. I mean, it's starting to look a little less like it used to.
Yeah,
because now everything's like new and expensive, but there's still some parts. They can't change everything, so there's still some.
I just remembered the name of the song by Daft Punk.
What is it?
It's Daft Punk.
Oh, okay. I don't think I know.
It's the video for that song, which is it's from the first album. It was like 95 when it came out.
Oh, wow.
You have to watch the video for that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. I'll watch it. Are there any other like references that you know of from this film? Like anything that you've seen? Like I can think of the Michael Jackson video, which I have to think was inspired by the Warriors. It has to be. I mean, I don't know that it
I think so.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
There is a lot, actually. You can find notes on like this movie in like popular culture, and obviously a lot of it it's like hip hop and stuff that I don't follow it,
okay.
But apparently Wu-Tang Clan makes a reference to the film in one of their songs, Puff Daddy as well. Like it's just going on like influencing a lot of like artists, movies, like Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool. Yeah, it's really I'm glad I saw it. I'm like super super glad that you reminded like, us that like we're going to branch out from not just 90s. So we've got like a 70s one.
Yeah,
Ooh, the next one
yeah.
I pick's
Anyways,
going to be 80s.
I'm just reading a note about like The Simpsons making a reference to the movie
Oh, they do in
in one of
everything.
their well, they do everything, so it's
Yeah.
not
Oh,
really
I'm
a surprise.
excited.
But
Oh, I want to see it now. I love when I see things like I hadn't seen The Godfather until like kind of recently, and I'm like, oh my god, they've been referencing this in everything. Like, and I just had no idea, and now I actually get it. Like now I get all these.
yeah, you know what's so funny? Didn't really think about it until today when I watched this movie again. But Matthew and I always like say like, "Can you dig it?" Like from this movie, like all the time. Like I said as a joke, pretty much like at least 3 times a week.
Oh no way!
I always say, "Can you dig it?" Like,
Yeah,
because
like
it's
how
just
he
so
screams.
iconic.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
that's so funny. I didn't know what I was gonna name it, so that might that might have to be it because I couldn't think of any other quotes.
Well, there is the come out to
But
play.
yeah, I kinda like
It's like
that one.
the way he says it, it's so fucking like
So funny.
he looks like a psychopath in that scene.
I also love that the like at the end when they catch Luther on the beach and like the other crew like comes in and they're like, "Oh no, we know it's you," because that guy like said like, "No, I saw everything" or whatever. And then like I love that he's like pleading, like the way that he's pleading.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "No, no, no, it was the Warriors, it was the Warriors." And I love how he does the exact same thing in The Crow because right before
Oh
he dies and he's in the
yeah.
car, like the same actor is literally pleading and he's just like, it's not me, like don't do this, don't do this, don't do this." And then he fucking does it
He's
anyway.
a wimp.
Yeah, like
Like he just looks so yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it, how he's in The Crow and like he looks so different in that film.
oh, I know, he looks so different. He was in a kids TV show I used to watch called Ghost Rider too, and I was like,
Oh
"Oh my god, it's the guy from The Crow." Yeah, and he was in that.
yeah, and the crazy thing is that I never realized that when I watched Twin Peaks, I didn't realize that the old man was this guy,
With
you know?
Luther?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
in Twin
I have
Peaks
not seen Twin Peaks. It's
as an old man.
another thing that I even in quarantine, I attempted a few months ago. I was like,
It's so good. You're missing out. That's what I'm gonna say.
"Yeah, I know, I've heard it from so many people, and I cannot get past the first episode." I'm just like
I don't get it.
just
I don't
like,
get
"What
why.
is this? This is so boring." I, like, don't get it. Yeah, I think we might be on some kinda, like, Wes Anderson thing where I just don't get it, and I just don't know if I will. I mean, I've
Mm.
attempted, like, over the last 10 years to, like, try to get into various things. Wes Anderson's not happening, like, fuck that, it's not happening. But, even yeah, but David Lynch I'm open to. I actually really wanna see Wild at Heart. I actually wanna review that because 'cause I've never seen it, and that Laura
Mhm.
Dern have you seen that?
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's a David Lynch film, but it's not I think it's more, like, linear. I don't think it's so weird. So I feel
Let
like
me see.
maybe I would be there's amazing outfits in that too. Like, we should do that
Yeah.
next because I need to be, like, like, in a David Lynch, like, like, introduction in a less weird way. I mean, I have seen Inland Empire,
Oh, okay.
like, a
Yes, of
mess.
course. Is this actress, this amazing
Yeah,
actress.
Laura Dern.
I had no idea. She was really hot
Have you
when
seen
she was
this?
younger. I've seen it like a long time ago. I don't remember. I only remember because I've looked at some of the photos and I'm like, oh yeah, this is really iconic scene.
Yeah,
Like
like, I kind of
she's got
wanna
the
see
pink dress.
this.
Yeah, I will do it.
Let's do it, 1990. It fits the mold.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
yeah, let's do this because it's David Lynch, and I wanna, like, understand him. I think this is a maybe an easier scene to,
It
like,
is. I feel
get
like
into.
I'm not sure you get some of his work like the newest stuff. Not even newest, but
But, like
you definitely would not like the like Twin Peaks, the last one.
oh, okay, yeah. I mean,
Like 20 years later, whatever.
the old
Like
one is just I don't know what it is about it. Like, I like the whole vibe, I like the actors in it, I just maybe I'm just not I haven't been in that, like,
have you
vibe.
seen The Elephant Man
No.
or Blue Velvet?
No. I've seen Inland Empire is the one that I saw.
Uh,
I was like, what the fuck is this?
you see, those are really cool movies. And then there is like Mulholland Drive.
Have
Drive
not
that
seen that. That's a big one, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
Lost
these are like
Highway,
old
have not
David
seen.
Lynch. So,
It's just Inland Empire, I think, really soured me because it's
hmm,
fucking 3 goddamn hours. I was like, I can't. I was like, this is like, no. Like, I think that that's a film for people who are really
hmm,
into Lynch already. But like, I think
mhm.
because I'm not in his wheelhouse, I'm kind of like, what the fuck is this? I don't get it. So I probably need to be reintroduced. I will take the plunge on getting introduced again to Lynch. I will not for Wes Anderson. So
Yeah,
don't ask me,
very
people.
fair. I mean,
Don't ask me to do the Royal Tenenbaums. It's not going to.
no, I wouldn't. I mean, I like those films, but I don't think
And not
that they're not
you. Other
movies
people will
that.
probably like, why have you not done a Wes Anderson film? It ain't happening.
No, those are movies that I watch once, and I'm happy I watched them, but that's it. I don't need to watch them again. And they're definitely not like they're really beautiful. Like
Yeah, he has a style for sure.
yeah, they're like beautiful in that sense. Like the costume design is always incredible and the set design, but there's no a lot of substance,
Quirky.
you know.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
quirky and weird for me. So yeah, do you have any more music notes?
no, that's it for music. Should we talk about favorite
Yeah, what's
scene?
your first favorite one? I already talked about my first favorite one, which I think is yours too.
Well, same.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
intro.
the gangs that. Yeah, I mean that's such an epic scene. One of the most epic, I think, scenes in all the movies that we've seen.
I feel like this movie's book ended really well. My favorite scenes, the first one is the intro, and like my last one is like the
Yeah,
end. So I feel like it
it
ends
is
and begins
so
really
cool.
well.
Yeah, how beautiful is it at the end, like in like Coney Island, like at the beach and
Yeah, in the
stuff.
morning.
It's so cool.
So rad. I really like it.
And there is like a bit of a pink sky as well, which they
Yay!
capture. It's just
Surprise.
so amazing. What do you have any other favorite
Yes, I
scene?
do. My second one is when the Lizzies take the guys in
Yeah,
downtown and then they turn on them. I think it's
same.
so funny. I just said like also I have some other notes, like story notes, like Mercy reminds me of Rosario Dawson.
Totally.
Like she's a
Yeah, same.
younger or like a
Hmm.
yeah, like older version of Rosario Dawson, I guess. I wrote, what's the deal with Swan and Mercy? He's so mean, question mark. Like, does he even like her? Or is this just like she's around and she's hanging around, so we're like, okay.
I feel like he doesn't like her to start with because she's such a troublemaker, you know.
Mhm.
She got them in trouble with the orphans
Mhm.
and totally unnecessary, right? But then it's so typical of like 70s films how the woman loves to be treated like shit and the man is like, you know, it's kind of like Rocky as well, you know?
I haven't seen
Has to be
Rocky.
versed. You haven't seen Rocky. Oh my god.
No. I haven't seen Rocky, I haven't seen Raging Bull. I don't really go in for, like,
Oh
boxing films, I have
no.
to say. It's not one of my favorite, like, sports in general.
I know,
So
but it's such an iconic
there's
film.
so many iconic films I haven't seen. I mean,
Okay.
it's on the list.
You're such a hipster.
No, I'm not. If I was a
I
hipster, I feel like I would've seen those. I would've been like a film nerd. I woulda had like a
mm,
Rocky or like a Pulp Fiction poster in my house. I do
but
not.
you're like the epitome of hipster. It's like you're too cool to even watch like the really iconic
Do you
films.
think? Oh, no, it's not 'cause I'm too cool. I just, like I think I watch a lot of stuff in the '90s, and then my mom really, like, indoctrinated me with, like, movies from, like, the '30s to, like, the mid-'60s.
I mean, that is
And
cool.
about after
But
that, I've seen a lot of films that a lot of people my age probably haven't seen, but I haven't seen a lot of films that people my age probably have
mm,
seen, I guess you could say that. Like, have you ever seen West Side
yeah,
Story? I know you don't like musicals, but have you ever seen it?
I have seen
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you've seen it because it's, like, similar
I've seen a lot of films that I don't particularly like, but I had to watch them just to
to know.
have an opinion because you can't just say, "I don't think I like it," you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You do not
Um,
like West Side Story.
like, I've seen a lot of older films like Gone with the Wind
Yeah,
and, like, Casablanca
yeah,
and,
nah.
you
I
know.
was not impressed with Casablanca. Not
I
yeah,
know.
okay, good, I'm not the only one. I was like, this
I think Gone with the Wind is better,
I wasn't impressed with that either. I'm
but
also
it's very
not
not
into,
my
like,
thing.
plantation slave type stories, like,
Yeah.
I just, like, can't like, I just feel like it's just all like, those films I actually won't watch. like 12 Years a
Mm.
Slave. Like, I mean, I feel like it's like my people's story. I really don't need to be railroaded the same thing like
No.
over and over
I
again.
know. I know, I understand.
Yeah, but I
I
feel
mean,
like I mean, I know there's some that are different. Gone with the Wind I had to see in a film class. I had to, like, write about it, so I didn't really have a choice, but I'm glad I know, like, Scarlett O'Hara and, like, Vivien Leigh, like, I mean, I know the actresses and things like that and the actors in that, but,
hmm,
yeah, certain things I guess and I won't watch anything on possession. Like, people getting
yeah,
by demons,
as we
like
established
yeah, like,
before.
no Exorcist, no Poltergeist, none of that shit.
Yeah, I watch way too many of those. I'm obsessed. I don't really know why.
Those, like, actually scare me because I, like, really, really think
No, I know
they happen.
that's the thing. They
Yeah,
could scare me too.
I'm like, "Oh, no," like, it's too
I like being scared. Don't know.
I somewhat do. It depends on what it is, like
I'm not really sure how we got talking about this from like the
from
scene at the
from
apartment
oh,
with the
yeah, okay,
girl.
wait, so let's go back. Okay, so I have oh, yeah, also another question I have, is there a reward for their capture, or is it just a respect thing amongst the gangs?
I think it's just respect. I don't remember any mention of
Money.
reward or anything.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so.
But yeah, I mean that scene is pretty cool. Like they're so like naive and innocent looking, and then it turns out
Mhm.
that they're feisty and they want to kill them. And Rembrandt sort of he's very suspicious of them from the beginning, and he kind of knows there's something iffy there. But
I love his name too.
I know, yeah, he's really sweet.
I love it's Rembrandt.
That actor actually died in the 80s
Oh, did he?
from AIDS. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he wasn't even around he was quite young.
Oh, yeah, he looked
Think
really
about
young
like
in that.
this is 79 and he died in like 80 something.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
I
really
know.
sad. Yeah, he's
Um,
really cool.
but yeah, that scene, how cool is it when the two girls are dancing?
Yeah, it is really cool.
I love that.
First, I
It's
was like,
like,
"What's gonna happen?" I was like, "I don't know what's gonna" I was, like, waiting to be like, "Okay, either this is a setup or, like" I was like, "It has to be a setup. This can't be so easy. Like,
mm-hmm.
something else is gonna happen." I thought it was really funny how they, like, pull out the knife. She, like, pulls out the knife, and the other girl has a gun. I was like, "Oh, shit, she's got a gun."
I know they're
Yeah.
hardcore cheeks, definitely.
Yes, definitely. The
Which is really cool to see.
Yeah, that's cool that there was that and it's cool that they're in the mix too, because they obviously are in the know because they know they're looking for the warriors.
Yeah,
So
and also because at this point you just see men being like, the I don't know, just they focus on men, but the fact that they have that scene with the girls, like I think there must be like a gang, or
yeah.
not like an official, but also the cop is a girl, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's true. It was really cool.
I love that scene so much.
Yeah,
How he's like, oh, I'll show you how I play with like girls or whatever. And then he's like, I like it rough. And he's just awful.
oh, I
Like,
know, fucking Dexter's dad. What a mess.
but he's really hot.
I don't think so. I think if I had to pick, I'd pick Swan.
I mean, I would pick Swang, obviously, but he's pretty cool too. I mean, both of them like have incredible bodies. Like, what? Like,
They're
they're
all
like ripped.
super, like, oiled up throughout the whole thing. So they have to have, like, baby oil on. I was like, "No one is this sweaty running around. Like, this looks crazy."
No, I'm sure you get that sweaty running around. I think that's totally fair.
Very, like, control like, all in a certain area. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, like, dripping like natural sweat is. It looked very, like, shiny.
Well, but also it was filmed in summer, so it was probably quite hot anyway.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
And also New York in summer is fucking vile,
Yeah, pretty gross, I have to say, especially when you
And
have
then with lightings and everything, like
yeah, and
I agree it was real sweat. Don't
oh,
know.
maybe, yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes is when they are it's right towards the end when they're on their way to Coney Island. Um it's almost like before sunrise,
Mhm.
and they're on the train, and then these like two
Oh,
couples, like
yeah.
really well dressed young couples, get on. And I love that because I feel like it really captures the two total opposite social classes of that
Mhm.
time in New York. And I feel like there's just like silence, and they're just sitting opposite Mercy and Swan. And they're looking at each other, you know?
And the way that they look and the way they pan, like, to her shoes,
Yeah.
and her shoes are, like, all
Yeah. It's
dirty.
sad. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
and she has,
because
like,
literally
bruises on her, like, on her legs
it's
and stuff.
yeah, it's like these guys are literally fighting for their life, and these like middle class, like young people are,
Went to, like, a
you know,
prom or
white
something.
privilege, and
Yeah.
they're like wearing like a white suit and like prom dresses and stuff.
I know, I'm like, why are they not taking cabs? Like, if they're, like, super rich, but I guess it's just for just the sake
Yeah.
of the story.
Yeah. What do you have another favorite scene?
I don't. My 3 were a beginning, the Lizzies, and then the Coney Island ending, which I really
Yeah.
like a lot. Do you have any others?
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Oh, we've reached the end. I'm thankful so much that you had me watch this film because I have heard about it and I haven't seen it. Oh, it's on Cinemax right now. That's how we watched it. We just signed up for a free
I
trial.
watched it on Hulu.
Oh, I think because you have my Hulu and I signed up for the free trial.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, yeah, so I'm gonna cut that in like 6 days. So whatever, watch whatever you want on there. But yeah, so not you guys, but you know, like it's on Cinemax now. Look around for it. If not, I'm sure it's probably like somewhere because it's a pretty well-known movie at this point.
I think so.
Yeah. Yay! This
Well,
is so fun.
again, only cool people know it.
It's true. Now I'm cool. I'm now so offended that you think I'm like a hipster. I watched The Real Housewives, for God's sakes. That's not
Okay, no, don't be offended. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like
it's funny. I guess I like what I like.
you're definitely picky.
Well, yeah, everyone has
Like super picky. But I definitely
picky.
Yeah, you are really picky. But it's okay, it's part of your charm.
Yeah, see? Thanks. I guess that's 'cause I don't watch any old thing, which apparently you do. But I'm very like specific.
Yeah, I like a lot of things really, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know whether I can say that I'm more open-minded than you, or maybe we both are we have our little things that we're really picky about. But
Yeah, I think
for some reason, like I know more about yours than mine. Or we talk more about yours than mine.
Oh yeah. Well, oh, you mean like a lot of the films that I've suggested you haven't seen.
Yeah, and I don't like all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so funny. So that's good that I'm glad you saw Rocky, which is cool that like he's one of those like kind of unknown people.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I would have just. You're absolutely right about this, right? You're totally influenced by what your parents were watching when you were little. Like, if my dad hadn't seen all those films, I probably would have never seen them on my own. You know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean like the films that you watch, like 90s films or like 80s?
No, 90s. Well, all of them.
Stuff?
Like anything like Rocky or like.
Oh yeah, those. My parents didn't watch any of those movies. That's
what I mean.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of films I happen to watch because of my dad, but I don't think if he hadn't watched that, I probably would have not grown up and like wanted to watch that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because I watched a lot of movies that were from like the 40s and 50s when I was
because of your parents.
Probably because my dad doesn't really watch movies. He's not a movie person. But my mom is a huge movie person. But probably because I was so young that she was like, "Here, watch this." Like, she's not gonna say like, "What is this?" Like, if you're trying to watch a teenager to watch something from the 50s, they're gonna be like, unless they're really into it. But I just got into it really early, so.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was definitely like a movie fan, so he had everything that came out. Like everything. There was not really any. It was like 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, like I watched The Crow with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so rad. I love The Crow. A lot of stuff I just rented. I guess I would see it in the magazines and I would just rent it.
That is
like,
really
what are you
cool.
watching? But yeah, man, this has been super fun. I'm excited. Maybe the next one, let's do Wild at Heart, since I have not seen that. And you've seen it for a while, and it's David Lynch.
I've seen it once a long time ago, so yeah.
Cool. So it's David Lynch.
But yeah, definitely watch Rubble Kings. You and anyone out there who's interested by this time, you know, this time in New York and, you know, gun culture and like
it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's about the birth of hip hop, really.
Yeah, that's neat. I love documentaries.
But even for someone who doesn't like hip hop, I actually really like the documentary and it's really interesting.
That's cool. I'm stoked. Yay.
Cool.
Cool. Well, like and subscribe. I forgot to say it at the top, but people have, so that's cool. Keep writing reviews and follow the Instagram at Fashion Grunge Pod. And yeah, we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.